Okay, so Christy, I have Trump right here. He's fixing to
Mhm.
explain the tariff situation in great detail. I heard him talk about this yesterday, y'all. I kid you not. Now, every time I see Trump talking or, it's a press briefing, it's amazing. It's interesting. This man can talk very well. He explains the tariff situation to a T. He's been talking about it for years. So we're going to play that right now. We're going to get into this whole situation with the tariffs. It's very interesting, and I think it's very necessary for the United States of America at 12:01 a.m. 104% tariff is going to China at 12:01, y'all. So brace yourselves. I believe this is the best thing for the country. We need to, get rid of this poison. We need to heal. This is the beginning of the healing for our nation. I believe it's going to help us become a superpower once again. And like I said, this is what we voted for. I trust Trump to steer us in the right direction. And I think a lot of these countries have already. Trump said they're already calling off the hook to speak to him about the tariffs. So, like I said, brace yourselves, y'all. If you voted if you don't like Trump, ain't nothing he can do. He can help your Social Security. He can help cut you a $5,000 check. You'll never like him. I know some people that are like that. But if you voted for Trump, listen to me very clearly. He has a plan, y'all, and he is going to fulfill this plan and this promise to make America great again. If he pulls this off with the tariffs, y'all, we will become a superpower. Christy, do you agree? Yes or no?
Absolutely. And before we get into what he said, I was telling you this right before we started the live. Whenever I really started thinking about MAGA was whenever he was running the first time, and I was really on the fence if I was for Trump or if I was for Ben Carlson. I liked both of them a lot, Carson or whatever his name was. I liked both of them a whole lot, but knew that somebody like Trump was a successful businessman, and really started thinking about MAGA. Like, what does that mean? Not just like make America great again, but what does it really mean? And I started looking at things that I was purchasing and where those things were made from, and seeing China, Honduras, Philippines, Vietnam, all these things. And whenever we get into the tariffs, we'll talk a lot more about that. But we absolutely are going to hurt for a minute. But this is absolutely going to make us the superpower that we're meant to be once again.
And it,
We came real close to losing it.
and I'm gonna be honest, real quick, before I play the video. Sorry for prolonging it, but it's like the stock market. It was raining hellfire yesterday, and today it was all in green, right? So, guys, don't let these people just pull at your heartstrings with a breaking story that's right in your face for 24 hours, even less, and the next day it's not even a big deal, right? I digress. So here's Trump talking about the tariffs, y'all, and let's go.
I think there are many that want to get rid of tariffs right now. European Union, I mean, as badly as they've treated us, they brought their car tariffs essentially off. I guess they brought it down to 2.5, and I hear maybe to nothing. But it's not only tariffs; it's non-monetary tariffs. It's tariffs where they put things on that make it impossible for you to sell a car. It's not a money thing. They make it so difficult. The standards and the tests. They drop a bowling ball on the top of your car from 20 feet up in the air, and if there's a little dent, they say, no, I'm sorry, your car doesn't qualify. When the same car from Germany or would dent likewise, unless you can have an army tank, it's going to dent. So they come up with rules and regulations that are just designed for one reason, that you can't sell your product in those countries, and we're not going to let that happen. Those are called non-monetary barriers. They make barriers that are so tough that it's impossible to qualify. So tariffs are a big part of it, but there's another big part of it, and that's barriers. They also do something else. They manipulate their currency, and they drive it down. They want to have low currencies. It sounds better to have a high currency, a strong dollar or whatever, but they bring their currency down, and when it competes with our currency, it's very hard to sell a tractor. It's very hard to sell product because their currency is low and ours is much higher, relatively.
True.
And so it makes it very hard. I speak to a lot of companies that do business, tractor companies, and they say it's so hard to sell because what they've done is they've lowered the yen or they've lowered the yuan or they've lowered their currency, so then it's very hard to compete. We don't want that either. So we have a lot of things that we're talking about, but we're going to fix it properly, and it's going to be fair to everybody. And in the end, I think we're going to have a world that does a lot better, but they have to respect the United States. And nobody but me would do this. Nobody but me would do this. It would be nice to serve, a nice, easy term. But we have an opportunity to change the fabric of our country. We have an opportunity to reset the table on trade.
Amen.
We lose billions of dollars. We lose close to $2 trillion a year on trade. We lose $1 trillion a year to China. $1 trillion. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars a year on trade to China. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars overall, probably close to $2 trillion. Why would we do that? Number one, why would we do that? And then you have to say, is it sustainable? Then you hear about all of the people that say, well, deficits. If we have a deficit with the country, or if the country has a big surplus with us, like China has a massive surplus that they take and they spend on their military. Well, we don't want that. I don't want them to take $500, $600 billion a year and spend it on their military. I don't want them spending money on their military. And I shouldn't have to spend money. We shouldn't have to spend it either. Because, hopefully, and I said this to President Xi, hopefully it's money that we're never going to use. In other words, because we're not going to use those incredible weapons that we have and that they have. We don't want that. So it's going to be very interesting. It's the only chance our country will have to reset the table, because no other president would be willing to do what I'm doing or to even go through it. Now, I don't mind going through it because I see a beautiful picture at the end. But we are making tremendous progress with a lot of countries, and the countries that really took advantage of us are now saying, please negotiate. You know why? Because they're getting beaten badly because of what's happening. They're getting beaten badly. They're being devalued as countries. But it's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on trade. And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again. And we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories. Think of this. 90,000. You wouldn't think it's possible. 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA, which was, by the way, the worst trade deal ever developed, ever had by any country anywhere, NAFTA. And I terminated NAFTA. Everybody said it would be impossible. And I terminated it through Congress. We terminated it. You had to get it through Congress. It was a trap. It was a horrible thing. And we got it done. And we went to the USMCA, which was much better. The problem is they cheat. They cheat like crazy. Canada cheats. Mexico cheats. Just one of those things. But we are resetting a table, and we're going to have great trade. And we're going to have a very strong country. Our country is going to be at a level that has maybe never been, or maybe, our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870 to 1913. You know why? It was all tariff-based. We had no income tax. Then in 1913, some genius came up with the idea of let's charge the people of our country, not foreign countries that are ripping off our country. And the country was never that kind of wealth. We had so much wealth, we didn't know what to do with our money. We had meetings, we had committees, and these committees worked tirelessly to study one subject. We have so much money. What are we going to do with it? Who are we going to give it to? And I hope we're going to be in that position again.
Let's go. So, man,
right into our country.
Listen to this man talk, y'all. Like, he can give you a history lesson. Shout out to Boss Don Bigavell. Like he said, he didn't have to do this. He could have had an easy 4 years. He could have been like Biden, excuse me. He could have been like Biden, sleeping on the beach or whatever. But he's out here handling business. I've seen this guy tweet and post on True Social at like 12 at night, 1 in the morning, 4 in the morning. This guy don't sleep. I saw him digging with the shovel earlier.
And donate the salary.
Okay, now we just seen him explain this. Again, like I said, this is what we voted for. Trump has been a fan of tariffs for many years. Nothing new. It's going to take some pain for us to push through and become the superpower that we once were. You heard what he said. So I said to say this, y'all. If you can't get your Shein order a little bit cheaper than you could a month ago, boo-hoo, okay? Let's hope that a Chinese slave camp over there is getting a little bit more rest. Who knows?